So we're gonna go into a segment where we're gonna be talking about music headlines because a lot of music stuff is happening with Asian Americans. I think in the past week, past month, past year. So Joji, someone from 88 Rising that we talked about earlier, came with an album called Ballads, and it has been charting. I think it was number 2 overall on Billboard and number 1 overall on R&B and hip hop. First time an Asian American has charted that high, I think, at least on the hip hop side.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure on the other side.
I mean, Bruno Mars has definitely had
yeah. So then on the hip hop R&B, I guess he was the first Asian person.
I mean, it's such a good album. Have you listened to it?
I haven't. I've only listened to a couple singles that I heard that he released before the whole album. I haven't listened to the whole album yet.
There is something about the Asian American music scene that's coming up that is so overwhelming. It just feels Asian American. I don't know. I think we should maybe listen, for next time and really kind of pinpoint what that is. But it's just it connects to me on such a guttural, visceral level.
Yeah.
That it's just the slow dancing song. It's just it's incredible. It's just it's like someone's holding me underwater, and I love it. It's yeah.
What maybe it is that kind of mood that a lot of Asian Americans have in this country, of isolation, of loneliness, of just that kind of feeling of mood of just not being understood, having identity issues here and there. And I don't know, I feel like we're now just bottling it up now and distilling it into its artistic forms.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think that's a good kind of thing. So yes, download Joji, stream it, listen, you'll cry and sway in the darkness. It's so good. And I think, let's see here, I guess I just wanted to quickly run down a bunch of K-pop things that have been happening, because honestly it's really wild. I don't know if you feel this way, but I'm really seeing, because I'm really paying attention to how K-pop is doing on the charts worldwide, and it's really, really crazy to me that it's just doing so well. I mean,
hold on. How did you first get into K-pop to begin with?
So I first got into K-pop when I was in either elementary or middle school.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
How did you get introduced to that?
So I was going to a Korean church.
Okay.
There was this tiny Korean church. I guess near where I kind of grew up, and it was literally our youth group was maybe 5-6 kids. Yeah. Literally 5 kids.
Yeah.
Sometimes it would just be me and my dad. Literally be the only ones that were that came that week. And so and so this one family, the Lee family, they gave us the SES Dreams Come True album.
So you were around when old school K-pop was. And then did you follow it throughout high school, throughout college?
That was SES 2, and then SES 3 came out, and it's still one of my favorite all-time albums of all time. It's pure, they really truly distilled what was really great about female pop, whether it was a kind of TLC or a Spice Girls or a Aaliyah or even a pop diva, Mariah Carey. They
Alicia
really
Keys.
Kind of Alicia Keys. They pulled everything into that album, and to me, it's kind of this eponymous just distillation of pop, and so it made me feel great. It was the first time I felt heard. But when I moved into middle school, high school, it was this isn't popular here, and no one's I don't have anybody to share this with. We didn't have Twitter at the time or Instagram.
I feel like there was this moment in the the mid to late 90s when K-pop was big for all Koreans.
Yes.
And then in the mid 2000s or whatever, kind of for Americans, Asian Americans or Korean Americans, I think the interest level, at least for the people that I was with, waned a little bit. Yeah, I've heard about Big Bang, I heard about 2PM, I heard about these things, but it was just kind of It's kind of a, but then I feel like in the past 5 to 6 years, there's been a resurgence of like, I guess, relevance overall that, now that we're in our 30s, we're getting back into it.
Yeah. I mean, and then what happened was DNA came up on the Today's Hits Spotify by BTS. And so I was just like, oh, I like this song. Like, it's like, I consume pop music just like, vociferously. Like, I'm just kind of like, I love chewing on it and like, just like love listening to it. Cause I think their production is so just like, you can feel the craft that they do. I think it's because like so many Koreans, like they are musicians their entire lives. So like a lot of times, like American music sometimes is too like simple for me, or it's something. So I love kind of grappling with like, if like I don't understand what they're saying, but like, oh wow, like they're doing this pentatonic scale like during this simple pop song, and that kind of pulls me in personally. But
so was there a moment where you kind of like got back into K-pop?
Yeah,
like from that kind of like I guess hiatus.
I mean, like it was BTS.
Okay.
And then what happened was like I wasn't a huge fan of BTS even like because like they're definitely like for like women and straight men. Like if you like hip hop rap as a male or as a woman, then you'll love them, and then then women like love their kind of like swagger and tenacity. So like I actually when I got into BTS, I was really trying to I connected to maybe like 4 or 5 songs, but then what happened was, unfortunately, during that time, like Jonghyun from SHINee. So SHINee was basically like they were like the group that like the like one of SM's big boy bands. Like they are, I think even today, they're like the 4th highest selling group of all time in Korea, and like behind BTS, EXO, and like Girls' Generation. And they so their lead singer, he took his own life.
I heard about that.
I mean, like, and so like I just kind of like had read that news, and I had just started getting back into K-pop. And then when I read that news, I was like, okay, I need to like kind of just like listen to this group, and like I like completely head over heels like fell in love with their music. Like it's just like they're kind of like the distillation to me of like how to create perfect pop music, like the way,
like if there was like a formula
if there was a formula, they had the formula down. Like their voices were incredible, their dancing is incredible, their looks were were fantastic. Like they were so charismatic, and also like very thoughtful when speaking, and very smart. And so I mean, like, to me, like they're just so much. They mean so much to me now, and it's really sad that it's retroactive. But I mean, like they've since like changed my view on like being Korean. Honestly, even.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like I've never been like more proud of a group. Like it's just weird. Like about it. I mean, like I'm almost glad I talked to Eileen, one of our friends, about this all the time, and I'm just like I'm almost glad that I didn't listen to them before, because like I think that losing that member like I don't think I could have recovered from that. Like I think that would have really like mentally affected me in a really pretty awful way. I'm already like kind of mentally fragile, so like oh my gosh. So like I guess I feel like I'm rambling, but
no, it's fine. I think like it's good to understand where that kind of like interest in K-pop now comes from.
You're Doug. Come on, Doug. Interviewing. Okay, that's right. Well, so back to BTS. They are now, because they just released a song with Steve Aoki, and it's now their 5th charting single on the Billboard chart. So they've now are the most charting Korean act on the Billboard charts, and so we're gonna see how that goes. Which is exciting. Twice, which is kind of like the new Girls' Generation, they now have had their 9th #1 single. And I'm gonna kind of run through these, and then I want to get to like the juicy one. And then KDA, I don't even know how to say it. If it's KDA. So Riot Games, who does League of Legends, they put together like a girl group. And like it's like half virtual. It's like 4 virtual girls, but then there's actual 4 real women, and 2 of those girls are K-pop stars. And this song is now #5 on the pop charts.
Wait, so how do they record that? Are there like synthesized voices?
No, so the real girl voices,
real
women's voices, and then they did motion capture. So these girls like put these motion capture suits on and then learn the choreography.
Wait, so the 2 real girls do all the motion capture?
Yes, there's 4 real girls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, then two girls are Americans and 2
Okay.
are K-pop stars from G Idol, which is this really big.
So who does the
group.
mocap for the virtual girls?
I believe the 4 pop stars.
Okay, so they they just do themselves and then they do
Yes.
yeah.
And then so they performed, which is like the performance was watched by 127 million people worldwide, which is insane. It's like Olympics level. People watch the world. It's the world champion video games.
Yeah.
And so
because League is the biggest thing in Korea.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's esports, and so they performed live. But then they overlaid the virtual characters so that they would like be dancing and singing with the virtual characters.
Oh my gosh!
The performance is wild. We'll watch it. We'll watch the video. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, like it's truly so like Variety just put an article out of like, is this the future of music? Like, you know, because I think that's kind of another that I know you're Doug's face right now is cringing because but it's true though, because like, you know, in Japan, like one of their number 1 singers was a virtual
right. Yeah, I think you told me this.
You know, and so it's this kind of like, is there this movement towards, you know, like virtual things, you know, like Balmain, like their 3 models this year are all virtual models, like they're not real, and so, you know,
because
like,
then what is art anymore?
Right. I mean, like, are we kind of like even moving into automation in the art world? You know, like we see automation in other places like Amazon, but it's like, is this?
Because like, I mean, like I personally think like, you know, the point of art or anything is to have a human connection. Like, you know, I
so naive. No,
you know,
just kidding.
you know, I always harp on the F. Scott Fitzgerald quote about like literature to him is something that connects him and having a sense of belonging once your art is out there and people respond to it. And if you're putting out robots and stuff like that out there and people are jiving to that, what does that mean really? I mean, like, I guess the person who made the robot is a human or whatever, but then at what point does that
is a programmer an artist? You know,
right.
Like what does that mean? I'm just still shook that you quoted F. Scott Fitzgerald. That's fierce. Okay. And my last, also CL is no longer managed by Scooter Braun, which CL was a K-pop rapper. She was part of 21, which was like the big girl group. And then they got disbanded because like, for multiple reasons.
I thought it's just age.
Age, age, but also it was because like they weren't supposed to be as big as they were, and people really connected to them because they were kind of like not stereotypical K-pop, like they were.
So they were like BTS before BTS.
They were kind of like Lady BTS, Lady BTS, and or like, you know, like the precursor to BTS, and then so they kind of like what the K-pop world thinks, what the fandom thinks is like scandals were manufactured to take them down.
I see.
So she's been stuck kind of in, as you'd say, in this like development hell, like for years, and so she's finally free. So we'll see what happens. But what I'm really excited about is there is a conflict between Miss Ariana Grande and Kris Wu, who is a C-pop / K-pop star. So Kris Wu was in EXO, which was a big K-pop, which is like the second biggest K-pop group behind BTS, and he left to start his own solo career. And what happened was his fans were changing their VPN. Is that what you're saying?
I get, yeah. So I guess that's a technical term to try to make it look like they had multiple users that were streaming a thing, right? Yeah. So that's a virtual private network is the way you like go in through the computer and like mask your IP or create a different IP.
Oh, okay. Come on, science. Come on, computers. But yeah, so his fans like streamed his music and he beat Ariana Grande's "Thank You Next."
Yeah.
Which
I love. I love that song.
That song, it's a bop. It's a bop, y'all. Like, it is a true bop. Doug was listening to it when I got here. Like, it's so good. But like, it's
so funny, like how these artificial now like goalposts are being like, we were the biggest streaming people. It's just kind of like,
I mean, like but it's interesting though, because I think like, like his fans are, because I mean, like his fans are calling racism because like you don't know, because if you change your what I'm thinking when I'm reading is what I think I'm saying is that when you change your VPN, you don't know who's American, who's not.
Right.
And so like Apple just can kind of arbitrarily be like, okay, none of these streams count. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of the fans are calling racism and being like, well, you don't actually know how many fans are here.
Right.
Versus how many fans are actually taking time to do this.
Yeah.
And so like there is this kind of interesting.
And how do you know like Arianators are doing the same thing?
Exactly.
Or what if,
like you don't.
Yeah.
But I mean, then you can look at his actual sales, because they're not actually doing actual sales, they're only doing streams, and so it's this kind of like, if they're trying to kind of match the correlation, I think.
Right. But it's just a bunch of like dick waving over nothing, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean,
well, who knows? I don't know. Maybe
I don't know. I mean,
maybe streaming is like the future, but
streaming is the future.
In terms of just like, oh, like we got the number one, blah blah blah.
But I think it's really important.
Yeah.
I think that like posturing is so much of what posturing and perception is so much.
It's funny
of what
though, because I feel like Kris Wu and Ariana were not a part of this war that was going on.
That's true.
It was Scooter Braun and the fan base.
Yeah.
It's interesting who's getting involved in like which star is more popular, which thing is,
because it is kind of more on the manager's shoulders.
Right.
Because if her perception goes down, his money goes down.
Right. Yeah. He's looking out for his bread.
Yeah. So that is all of my excitement. Survivor and K-pop. That is why I'm here. That is why I live, breathe, and die in this world. And so